Are you a first-time vegetable gardener and get intimidated when you come out to your garden because you're not sure exactly what to do? Well, in this video, we're going to get into it. You're here with Mark Batwell on Perfect Gardens TV. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook. And if you haven't checked out our $2.99 membership, please go ahead and do so. If you need a little more one-on-one, please check out our VIP program. For me, I know how to grow canna. Although what I've been wanting to do really over the last few years is convert the skills I have into growing one specific plant into growing a variety of plants, basically growing my food for my family. And like so many of us, just getting going in gardening. And I'm making the assumption here, right? This is really my second backyard garden I've grown, and just really taking it more serious since I've stopped growing canna. And there's a lot of things that are happening in the garden. I like anyone else, right? I get recommendations, or someone encourages you to do something, and you're like, well, okay, let me go ahead and implement it into the garden and see how it works out. For example, like cover crops and no-till gardening, and kind of keeping the top layer of your soil moist for microbiology. I have a couple different pieces of knowledge or nuggets of wisdom, right, that I know that I need to keep implemented in my garden. And I'm trying to convert that knowledge from the canna industry, or from what I know in the canna, over into my vegetable garden, so that, I still get the same level of success. Obviously, I'm not an expert at growing vegetables, and so I have to try things, and I have to document them, and either kind of get rid of the idea or keep implementing it the following year. And so some of the things that I want to bring up around are around cover crops, specifically putting hay down. A lot of people, I was told, and I still have to learn how to do this, right? But a lot of people told me, well, you should put a layer of cardboard down, and then you should put mulch, like wood, on top of it. Some of my issues with that are, what about the following season? When I'm going to, especially be adding new compost in, what do? Do I put it on the top of the wood layer? And then at that point, now I have like a layer of wood in my soil, which is nothing wrong with that, but how much wood content makes up my total media in a sense? So some of the ideas that people recommend, I don't do, because I think it wouldn't make sense for me. And of course, again, I'm not an expert at growing vegetables. I'm just implementing suggestions and ideas, documenting them, and want to share with you guys, because obviously some of you guys might be in the same boat I am in. So one of the first things was putting down hay. I realized that if I put down hay too early in the season, it kind of blocks my vegetables I'm putting down. And so one of the things I kind of realized was that and also I had to take a lot of weeds out of the garden. I've talked about a few times in some of the other videos. Although some of the things I realized a couple days ago was that as the plant really does start to get established, especially for some of the crops, like for strawberries, for example, they are, in my viewpoint, really essential to make sure the strawberries stay off of the wet soil, right? Why? Is because the strawberries are going to get moldy. They don't like to be doused with water often. Some of the other crops, though, they don't really mind it, aren't really that big of a deal. Some of the things also I'm taking mental note of is positioning of the crop, right? So we have leafy lettuces, and I actually moved some of the plants that were here over to here on this other side. I think I moved this zucchini plant. And the reason why was because I know that if the lettuce stays in the hot weather throughout the entire day and doesn't get shade, it's going to begin to bolt. And kind of similar to what this might be doing right here. And these are things I'm learning, right? These are obviously knowing what a head of lettuce looks like when it bolts, and per variety, is going to take time for me and for you to experience it. Although I know that if I move or shift the crop, it might do extremely well. So what I did is I put it underneath these big leaves, because throughout the day, as it heats up or the sun goes overhead, I wanted to keep these a little bit more out of the sun and the hot direct light. In addition to this, I'm also kind of taking mental note of the type of variety of lettuces that seem to be growing really well in my environment, and other ones that don't grow very well. Like, for example, like this one right here that's bolting fairly quickly, I probably am not going to want to grow that variety next year. Why? It's because it's going to bolt and I'm going to get less food over the period of a couple weeks or throughout the growing season. Versus maybe some of the other vegetables or the veggies, they might do a little bit better in the hotter, drier climate that I'm living in. Other things that happened right when I came out this morning, we had a large amount of wind, and the corn, some of the corn actually broke over. I don't want to say broke over, but fell over on their side. Well, next year I kind of realized, you know what, the corn should probably go into a 4x8 grow bed, and I should probably put them against the fence. Versus putting them so high up right here. As you can see, they are, a foot, maybe 2.5, 3 feet off the ground, and they're gonna get battered and bruised every single day when the wind's picking up, because a large amount of wind actually comes in this backyard that I'm living in right now. It just rushes through here, whips things around, and it's not something I thought about when I was putting the corn in, but it is definitely something that I want to keep in a mental note for the following year so I can keep improving the garden. Once again, guys, why am I sharing this with you guys? Again, I'm not an expert. My corn last year was horrible, or 2-3 years ago was absolutely horrible. When all this corn started to pop up, I was just like, oh my God, finally I can grow some corn. But then look, all the wind thrashes up and I'm like, man, I should have thought about that a little bit more. So definitely, like I said, planning out the following year, and also planning out properly where I could possibly even take advantage of all this space. I mean, when you really think about it, probably put a 4x16 foot grow bed right here. I could totally imagine it, and make sure I have enough walk space. So it'd probably go right here, because I want to put up a vertical garden along the entire fence with different pots to grow carrots, to grow, for example, to grow all of these leafy greens that I am growing right over here. Same thing, positioning of the plants, right? Getting direct sunlight. They don't need direct sunlight. They grow best in Monterey, California, in the salad bowl. What's the weather like over there? Well, it doesn't get much warmer than 75 degrees every day. Even in the summer, the hottest it gets is around 85. Well, if I put it up against the fence, and I grow a large amount of corn that grows up vertically, well, it's going to kind of give this side of the fence shade. So that makes a lot of sense. This is, again, why am I sharing this stuff with you guys? I'm not an expert at growing vegetables. What I think I personally am an expert at is through visual observations and not being afraid to make the effort to adjust or fix something or improve something the following year. Just not, take what I've built here and be like, okay, this is good, I'm just going to keep replanting into it. No, I'm going to take what I'm observing from this garden this year. I'm already going to be taking mental notes of how I should adjust the following year. And I'm making an effort to be thoughtful on what each and every crop needs or will grow in an ideal environment. Like, for example, those strawberries or the leafy greens. It doesn't matter where you live in your life. If you have a tree, well, there's an ideal environment. There's certain plants will grow underneath shadier environments or cooler environments or hotter environments. You just kind of got to pay attention to them. You have to observe. You have to watch what's happening. You have to just see what's happening in the plant on a daily basis. Remember these things. Maybe take a visual notes or a video diary, kind of like what I'm doing, and implement it the following year of where you think you can make those improvements. Even this, for example, right? Growing a different type of a squash plant, 1, 2, 3 here with some, with I believe some cucumbers. There's a couple leaves that were growing underneath here, really blocking some stuff out. Well, I just cut them off right here, kind of defanning the leaves a little bit. We're always talking about defanning the leaves. Well, all plants need to be defanned. The leafy lettuces, for example, some of these are getting really big. They're blocking everything. Well, I want to come in here and I want to take off the large leaves. This is mustard right here. And really, that's about it, guys. I just wanted to make a couple visual notes, share them with you guys as I'm learning how to grow fruits and vegetables and medicine for my family. I wanted to share it with you guys and also encourage you to grow some fruit and vegetables for your family as well. Hey everyone, so I'm super pumped just because after fermentating my tea, my EM1, 20 parts RO water. I actually used tap water. I cleaned it with my drops of balance at a ratio. This one I used a ratio of 4 mLs per gallon. Then the mixture is a 20 to 1 to 1 ratio. So when you put in 120 ounces, so in a gallon there's 128 ounces, so you'd remove 8 ounces out of, let's say you had a gallon of distilled water or a gallon of RO water. You'd remove 8 ounces out of there. Let's say you had the glass jar like this. Then you would put 6 ounces of EM1 and 6 ounces of molasses, and it actually fits into this jar perfectly. So this jar holds 132 ounces of water up to its brim. Then what I ended up doing is I let this ferment for 7 days, and as you can see right here, what you're looking for is between 3.2 and 3.6, and right here it perfectly matches up. I'm happy with the pH level of the fermentation. And so what did this do exactly? So the recommended dosage after you activate the tea is a 100 to 1 ratio. So 1 gallon will make 100 gallons of tea. So I actually bought a really phenomenal easy flow siphon system. Let me show you what that looks like. So something to kind of take note of, because I didn't know it, and obviously it makes complete sense now that I just wasn't thinking about it. So the water flows into the black, as you can see right here, and then it siphons out through the green. So in the beginning, it took me a week longer to actually ferment it. So this one side was empty. This side I had with the drops of balance, the minerals, and that was it with the actually the concentrated minerals. I had to dilute it. I believe it was 3 or 4 times. I already shot the video on that. Anyways, this tank ended up filling up with water. And one thing I just loved about it is I was able to literally just taste it. And I was like, oh yeah, this is water. And there was floaties on the bottom from probably a little bit backflow. Coming in through the minerals on this side, maybe not, but this water just tasted clean and ready for drinking, and this water was still concentrated. So just kind of keep in mind when you mix your tank, try to probably mix them at the same time and get the fermenting going as soon as possible. Have a great grow, everyone. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hope some of this helps. So obviously some of those key combinations of things that he was talking about was watering consistently and then using trace minerals, and obviously the importance of coenzymes, and coenzymes